When disaster strikes and chaos sets in, it's not the fresh foods you'll miss the most, it's the dried essentials you didn't stock up on. Imagine walking into stores with empty shelves and supply chains completely broken. That's the time you'll wish you had prepared better. But don't panic, because in this video we're revealing the top 20 dried foods that can last for decades, require little to no preparation, and might just save your life when the unexpected happens. These aren't just your ordinary pantry items. These are survival staples trusted by smart preppers everywhere. Whether it's a sudden natural disaster, an economic downturn, or complete societal collapse, having these dried foods on hand means you'll have the edge while everyone else scrambles to survive. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what you need to stock up on to secure your future. Stay tuned to find out which must-have dried foods will make all the difference when it matters most. 20. Dried split peas. Split peas are an absolute powerhouse. They don't need fancy prep skills or a million ingredients. Just throw them in a pot with some water, add a pinch of salt, and you're good to go. They cook fast because they're already split, meaning they soak up water in no time. Translation: you're saving on fuel when fuel becomes a luxury. Their natural starch makes them perfect for hearty soups without needing extra flour or thickeners. A single bag in your pantry can transform into bowls of thick, satisfying meals. Store these bad boys in Mylar bags, nitrogen-flushed cans, or those square buckets with gamma seal lids so you can scoop out portions daily. If stored right, they last up to 25 years. That's longer than most people keep a single pair of shoes. Think split peas are just for soups? Think again. Puree them cold and you've got a no-cook pea spread. Add in some smoked salt and suddenly you've mimicked ham flavor without touching the meat. The leftover soak water isn't trash either. It's nitrogen-rich, making it perfect for your garden. Keep in mind, though, supply isn't bulletproof. A single frost can wipe out most of the crops. And if rail strikes in Canada back up shipments, you can count on price hikes. Prep smart and stock up when prices are stable. Bonus hack: crack them with a rolling pin before cooking to make them even faster to prepare. 19 reasons dried black-eyed peas. Black-eyed peas are more than a southern comfort food. They're a prepper's secret weapon. One game-changing quality: they don't need to be pre-soaked. Their quick cooking time of about 30 minutes makes them a savior when energy and fuel are tight. No wasted time, no wasted resources. They're also resilient as hell. These things grow in marginal, even wet soils, and bring their own nitrogen to the party, making them ideal if you've got plans for a survival garden. Stored correctly, they'll last more than 20 years. Yep, 2 decades of shelf life with minimal effort. Toss them in vacuum-sealed Mylar bags, stick those in metal bins, and they're practically apocalypse-proof. Want to keep rodents and bugs out? Add a couple of bay leaves to your setup. Their firm shells already do a decent job at keeping pests out, but why take risks? Here's a prepper pro tip for you. Don't wait until New Year's when everyone panic buys these things for good luck traditions. Prices spike and shelves clear out. Shop off-season to stay ahead of the game. They pair beautifully with rice, dehydrated greens, or millet, but you can also grind them into flour for high-protein fritters or pancakes. Need more reasons to stock them? Their cooking water doubles as garden fertilizer, but watch out, it'll stain your clothes. Oh, and don't underestimate their barter value. During Lent or other meat-free periods, people will trade high for black-eyed peas. Stock up while it's peaceful. Teen McGlock. This gives you 8 different candy bonds that get the highest grade out of the bag. Your low-key Arnold or Francesca prefers pre-made phyto-omega-gluten. Boiling closely, you can't skip proper preparation here. These beans contain a natural toxin called phytohemagglutinin. Boil them hard for at least 10 minutes to make them safe. Don't, and you're asking for a trip to the emergency room. And trust me, you don't want that when resources are thin. Now, moving past the toxin warning, kidney beans are one of the most filling and dependable dried foods you can stash away. A single pound balloons into more than 6 cups of cooked food. That's insane value for something that can sit on your shelf for 25 years when stored in Mylar-lined buckets with oxygen absorbers. Not only that, but they hold their shape beautifully, making them a go-to for stews, chili mixes, or even a solid bean salad. Supply could be an issue during winter, especially if blizzards hit Michigan's bean belt. Rail transport delays? Say goodbye to beans on your shelf. Smart preppers know this and stock up before the media scares people into hoarding. Pro move? Build chili kits with dried jalapenos and tomato powder. It's a shelf-stable meal waiting to happen. They're naturally low in fat, so they're not going rancid anytime soon. Use the foamy stuff you skim off during boiling to supercharge your garden soil. Label your storage bins with harvest years to easily rotate stock. Pressure canning halfway makes them a quick dinner. Texans know their barter power, too. Chili's practically a religion there. Don't sleep on these. 17. Carrot dice. When fresh veggies disappear, dehydrated carrot dice will be a hero in your pantry. These little orange cubes are compact, easy to store, and packed with life-saving nutrition. A single 25-pound bag fits neatly into a 5-gallon bucket, and when sealed in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, they can last for 20 years. That's not temporary insurance, that's long-term security. Carrots are a ridiculously good source of beta-carotene, which keeps your vision sharp and immune system on point. That might not sound exciting now, but wait till you're months into survival rations and your body is desperate for vitamins. These pre-diced wonders rehydrate quickly in 10-15 minutes. Perfect when you're low on fuel or time. Toss them into stews, rice, or soups, and boom, instant natural sweetness to balance out salty, repetitive meals. Even the broken pieces aren't waste. Grind them into powder and sneak them into bread or biscuits for added color and nutrients. Got picky eaters in your group? Rehydrate them with tomato juice, and even they won't notice. Carrot dice store like champs in vacuum-sealed jars, perfect for smaller spaces or bug-out bags. If you're into DIY, you can even solar dehydrate your own carrots in just a few days. Just know this, droughts and wildfires can crush California's carrot supply. So don't wait. Stock up in the fall when prices hit rock bottom, and watch for moisture indicators in storage buckets. Pink means trouble. These nutrient-packed dice might not look flashy, but when fresh produce is history, you'll thank the stars you have them. 16. Freed dried sweet corn. Sweet corn isn't just a side dish for barbecues. In survival mode, it's morale in a can. Freeze-dried sweet corn eliminates almost all of its water, leaving you with an ultra-light, ridiculously long-lasting food option. We're talking a shelf life of 25 to 30 years if you store it right. That's decades of golden goodness waiting to brighten up your disaster meals. Here's the kicker. You don't even need to cook it. Just add a little water or broth to rehydrate, and boom, you've got a sweet, ready-to-eat veggie. Or, eat it dry, as is. It's practically popcorn's cheerful cousin. Fuel shortage? No problem. Cooking time? Zero. You're saving precious resources while still getting a big energy boost from its natural sugars. 1 pound of this stuff gives you a massive 7 cups of food. Add it to soups, chili, or rice, and suddenly your boring meal is packed with life again. The smell and taste alone could lift a group's spirits when morale is low. Even better, corn powder at the bottom of the can adds natural sweetness to things like cornbread or oatmeal. Nothing goes to waste, but don't be careless. Dented or bulging cans? Toss 'em. That batch is done. Also, weather patterns can mess with supply. Drejos, heat domes, and droughts in the Corn Belt are the real deal. Buy before summer when schools and cafeterias swoop in and wipe out inventories. This stuff is barter gold too. Lightweight, easy to trade, appealing to everyone, and a staple when everything else tastes like cardboard. Trust me, you want this in your stash. 15. The magic fruit. Fruits on purpose. Think raisins are just snacks for kids? Wrong. These little nuggets are calorie-dense powerhouses that pull double duty in a survival situation. A single pound of raisins has over 1,300 calories and takes up almost no room in storage. And the best part? You don't need any water, fuel, or prep to eat them. Tear open a bag, pop a handful, and you're instantly refueled. Stored with desiccants in Mylar pouches or vacuum-sealed jars, these guys can last up to 20 years. They're also versatile as hell. Grind them into a paste to sweeten oatmeal, bind homemade energy bars, or add depth to sauces. They cut the salty monotony of survival rations like jerky or canned meat, injecting dishes with a much-needed hint of natural sweetness. Families with kids? Forget candy. Raisins are the real MVP for bartering. They're familiar, non-threatening, and easy-to-portion treats that parents will trade almost anything for. Want to store them long-term? Freeze the packs first to kill off any larvae, and inspect for sticky clusters. Moisture is your enemy here. Weather can wreck supply too. Fires or droughts in California's Central Valley can wipe out tons of vineyards in days, leaving shelves empty when you need raisins most. Sulfite-free raisins bring even higher barter value because they're allergy and asthma friendly. For extra options, rehydrate them into pie fillings or ferment a batch into raisin wine when spirits are low. Compact, lightweight, and incredibly useful, this dried food is a survival must-have. 14 Dried figs. Dried figs might not be flashy, but they're a survival dynamo. These little packages of natural sugar and fiber are ridiculously nutrient-dense. And when fresh food is a memory, figs are a lifeline. Each pound packs an insane 1,400 calories, plus dietary fiber to help out when your survival diet leans too hard on protein or carbs. That's not all. Figs also come loaded with iron, potassium, magnesium, and even calcium, which are almost impossible to find in long-storable foods. Stored right? We're talking sealed in mylar with desiccants or glass jars. They can last over 20 years. Their sticky texture is practically crush-proof, meaning you can throw them in your bug-out bag and they'll endure. White powder on the surface? Don't freak out. That's just sugar bloom. Wipe it off and they're good to go. These aren't just straight snacks either. Dice them up and mix them into lentil stews or grain bowls to elevate bland meals. Want a DIY energy bar? Rehydrate the figs, smash them into a paste, and you've got yourself a high-calorie fix. People underestimate figs in barter situations, but sweet cravings are real. These are especially valued around holidays or to keep kids happy. Fig supply is vulnerable too. California dominates U.S. production, and droughts or water quotas regularly crush harvests, doubling prices overnight. If smoked dried figs cross your path, snag them. That bacon-like flavor alone can save morale in a meatless pantry. Figs may not be exciting now, but when chaos rears its head, you'll be glad you have them. 13 is dried shiitake, mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms are criminally underrated in the survival world. These aren't just flavor fillers, they're loaded with B vitamins, potassium, fiber, and immune-boosting lentinin. When protein is scarce, rehydrated shiitakes are about as close to meat as you'll get. Don't sleep on them. Stored in vacuum-sealed mylar or moisture-proof jars, dried shiitakes can last up to 25 years. They're light, compact, and mega versatile. After a 20-minute soak in warm water, they come back to life with a dense, savory texture that elevates any meal. Even better, the soaking liquid doubles as a rich soup stock or cooking base. Nothing wasted. Just a few mushroom slices are enough to transform a basic dish. Toss them into rice, ramen, pasta, or soups for bold, earthy flavors. Their porous texture takes on seasoning beautifully, making them mini flavor bombs. You can even grind them into powder to sprinkle on food as a seasoning. But these mushrooms aren't always easy to get. With over 140% tariffs on China's export, demand spikes can clear shelves fast. Remember the pandemic? Shiitakes were one of the first foods to vanish. Plus, U.S. farming operations are small-scale, so it's a scramble when imports waver. Keep them in tins or bucket liners to lock in that potent mushroom aroma. Otherwise, it'll leach into nearby foods like sugar or coffee. Shiitakes don't just add flavor. They bring vitamins, texture, and a sense of normalcy. It's not a question of if you should stock, it's how many. Dried seaweed, a nori wakame. People don't think seaweed when stocking up. That's a mistake. Dried seaweed, whether it's nori or wakame, is a survival game-changer. Compact, lightweight, and insanely nutrient-rich. It delivers iodine critical for thyroid function, plus magnesium, calcium, vitamin K, and more, all packed into paper-thin sheets. Stored vacuum-sealed in a cool, dry spot, seaweed has a shelf life of about 10 years. Once opened, resealing is crucial because these sheets suck up moisture like crazy. Cracked or brittle? Still usable. Crumble it into soups, over rice, or as a low-sodium seasoning. These aren't picky foods. They require zero cooking, making them a go-to snack during fuel shortages. You can even soak them in cold water for salads or blend flakes into bread dough for an extra nutrient kick. These depends heavily on seaweed imports. Over 90% comes from Asia, and things like shipping delays, tariffs, or port closures can wipe it out in days. Domestic options from places like Maine or Alaska exist but can't meet demand if global supply tanks. Stock up before the panic hits because when store shelves empty, seaweed will be gone in a flash. Its unique umami flavor is also a lifesaver when you're stuck eating bland beans or pasta for the 100th time. Plus, dried seaweed is a huge hit in trading circles, especially for plant-based preppers or those desperate for a green vegetable alternative. A few sheets can boost both your nutrition and your bargaining power. When fresh produce vanishes, seaweed will likely save the day. 11 dried pinto beans. Pinto beans are the ultimate prepper workhorse. When meat prices skyrocket or vanish altogether, pinto beans are the first to fly off the shelves. Why? Simple. They're cheap, packed with protein, and versatile enough to make dozens of meals without boring your taste buds to death. Stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, these beans can hold their nutritional value for 25 years. That's decades of reliable protein sitting in your pantry, waiting for when you need it most. 1 pound of these dried beans swells into 6 cups of filling, calorie-dense food. This is not a luxury. It's survival math. If you soak them overnight, you cut down your cook time, saving precious fuel. And if fuel is tight, you can even grind them into powder to make instant refried beans or a quick protein chicken soup. Pinto beans also have side benefits. Leftover cooking water is pure gold for soups and stews, thickening them without any flour. Farmers love these beans too, as they naturally fix nitrogen in the soil. That might not matter today, but in a broken supply chain, game changer. Smart prep? Buy them after the fall harvest for the best price. Watch out for USDA bulk buying. If schools start stocking up, shelves will clear faster than you think. Store them properly in Mylar-lined metal bins to keep out rodents. Label the harvest date and you're all set. Pintos aren't fancy, but they'll keep you alive when it matters. 10-yard roasted chickpeas. Chickpeas don't get the credit they deserve until they're gone. Known as garbanzo beans, they're an absolute staple in plant-based proteins. Properly stored in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, these little legumes will last 25 years. Their versatility is unmatched. Boil them for hummus, roast them into crunchy snacks, or grind them into flour for gluten-free bread. You can even save the soaking water, aquafaba. It's a perfect egg replacement for baking if eggs are nothing but a nostalgic dream. But here's the kicker. Getting your hands on chickpeas can be tricky when transportation issues emerge. A single rail line moves most of the U.S. chickpea production, and any disruption, like strikes or derailments, puts the supply in a chokehold. If you're smart, stock up before that bottleneck happens. Chickpeas' thick skin adds another layer of practicality. It keeps them safe from pantry moth infestations while they sit in your stash. Want to make life easier? Store some chana dal too. These split chickpeas cook 40% faster, saving you both time and fuel. Be aware, Idaho chickpea farms are shrinking thanks to tighter water restrictions, so prices will spike. Their neutral flavor also lets you season them however you want for endless meal combos. Curry night? Done. Chili night? Easy. Barter value? High. Chickpeas might seem humble, but with options this flexible, you can't afford to ignore them. 9-line toasters. Green lentils might not look exciting, but they're the unsung hero of long-term storage. These little protein powerhouses can cook up in just 15 minutes without needing a soak. That's right. When other beans are sucking up precious time and fuel, lentils are quick, efficient, and ready to go. If you've got a pressure cooker running on solar power, you'll have them done in 8 minutes flat. You can't beat that fuel savings during a crisis. Here's the deal. Most green lentils in the U.S. come from Washington's Palouse region. If a rail strike or supply chain hiccup happens, say goodbye to easy availability. Stored correctly in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, they'll last over 20 years. Bugs don't like them either, so infestations are rare. Lentils are practically built for survival pantry. They're not just for soups either. Grind them into flour for high-protein bread, or sprout them into greens in just 3 days when fresh veggies are history. Combine them with rice and you've got a complete protein when meat's off the table. Got leftovers? Solar dehydrate cooked lentils and restore them for portable meals. Here's your tip of the day. Watch lentil exports. When UN food programs scoop up Canada's surplus, U.S. prices spike instantly. Timing your bulk purchase is critical. Buy fresh, store dry, and label your stock. When chaos descends, you'll be eating better and smarter than everyone else. 8 Fred Sass strawberries. When your diet turns into survival mush, freeze-dried strawberries bring back flavor, color, and morale in one lightweight package. These bright red slices pack a punch of vitamin C, natural sugars, and antioxidants with an unbeatable 30-year shelf life. How? The freeze-drying process sucks out 98% of the water while locking in nutrients, shape, and taste. No chemicals, no refrigeration, just pure fruit magic. 1 ounce of these strawberries equals a full cup of fresh berries and weighs almost nothing. That makes them perfect for bug-out bags, attic storage, or throwing into a rooftop cache. They rehydrate in under 5 minutes with cold water, no fuel needed. Mix them into oatmeal, blend them with powdered milk for a shake, Or add them to yogurt mix for instant dessert vibes that keep spirits high even in chaos. The powdered bits at the bottom of the can? Sprinkle them into baking mixes or lemonade for a morale boost. Trust me, a hit of sweetness goes a long way when everything else is bleak. But here's the catch. The supply chain is fragile. Heat waves in the Pacific Northwest have wiped out acres of strawberries, and freeze-dried facilities often moonlight as pharmaceutical cold chains, slowing food production when vaccines are in high demand. Buy in bulk, off-season, and reseal open cans with fresh oxygen absorbers or into mason jars. Their strong aroma can attract pests, so go with metal tins. When you're stuck eating bland survival staples, a bite of these strawberries will feel like a miracle. 7. Dried apple rings. These aren't just chewy snacks. Dried apple rings might be one of the most practical fruits to keep in your long-term stockpile. They're lightweight, loaded with fiber, and naturally sweet, offering up to 20 years of shelf life if vacuum-sealed with oxygen absorbers. A single pound brings over 1,200 calories, making them a dependable source of energy when fresh produce is a distant memory. Thinly sliced and dried at 135 degrees Fahrenheit, these rings hold their nutrients without additives. The chewy texture feels more satisfying than most survival food, which is critical when you're rationing portions. They're perfect for oatmeal toppings, trail mixes, or even eaten straight. Plus, they rehydrate quickly in warm water or juice. Some versions are cinnamon-dusted, offering more flavor and an edge against bugs during storage. Supply disruptions are a real threat. Most dried apples in the U.S. come from Washington, a region hit hard by wildfires and labor shortages. One bad harvest season can spike prices overnight. Look for apple rings with a brownish tone that's harmless oxidation and not a quality issue. Skip sulfured varieties if you're bartering with people who are sensitive or have asthma. Sulfite-free apples always have higher trade value. For added versatility, crumbs or broken rings can sweeten pancake batter or muffin mixes. Their cores and peels, ferment them into apple cider vinegar. And, if you're off-grid, sun-drying apple rings on a car dashboard actually works. Packed right, they're an all-purpose food that screams practicality. 6. Media. Beef jerky. Protein is survival fuel, and beef jerky delivers like few foods can. Lightweight, high in calories, and shelf-stable, jerky offers concentrated nutrition when fresh meat is a fading luxury. With proper vacuum sealing or oxygen-free storage, jerky lasts up to 10 years. Commercial pouches give you 1 to 2 years, but long-term preppers know do-it-yourself for maximum storage life. An ounce of jerky provides 10 to 12 grams of protein, making it a zero-prep meal you can stash in bug-out bags, glove compartments, or even your coat pocket. It's reliable, portable, and versatile. Rehydrate jerky in hot water to make instant beef stew, or crush it into powder for an improvised bouillon substitute. You can even coat trail mix with jerky powder for a high-energy snack. The meat market impacts jerky availability too. The cattle herd in the U.S. hasn't been this small since 1951. Bulk buy in winter when cattle slaughter numbers peak for the best deals. And if you're worried about store-bought additives, make it at home with a dehydrator and curing salts. Keep silica packets handy because mold loves thick-cut strips. Jerky also has incredible barter value, especially with survivalists focused on protein-rich, low-carb diets. Keep it in metal tins or ammo cans to stop rodents from getting to it. With jerky on hand, you're not just eating, you're fueling. And when every bite counts, this dried meat isn't just food, it's survival-grade sustenance. 5. Spaghetti. Spaghetti might seem like a no-brainer, but it's one of the best things you can stash for long-term survival. This isn't just food, it's fuel and comfort rolled into one. When your world is falling apart, having a simple, familiar meal like spaghetti can do a lot for your morale. Stored properly with Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and Gamma Seal lids, it stays good for over 25 years. Kids and adults love it, and it's universally easy to make. One of the best things about spaghetti is how fuel efficient it is. You don't need to waste propane or firewood in an emergency. Break the noodles in half, pour boiling water on top, cover it, and wait 10-15 minutes. Done. Even the pasta water isn't wasted. It's full of starch and can help clean dishes when fresh water is hard to come by. Production is another issue to watch. Most durum wheat in the U.S. comes from North Dakota, a drought-prone region. A single bad season, or something like a Canadian rail strike, and you'll see shelves empty faster than you'd believe. Want to make this a full survival meal? Pair it with powdered cheese, freeze-dried veggies, or tomato powder. Long shelf life, fast cook time, and zero learning curve makes spaghetti ideal. It's also great for bartering. It's recognizable, versatile, and everyone knows how to cook it. Survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying sane. Spaghetti has your back. 4. Freeze-dried mixed vegetables. Freeze-dried mixed veggies aren't flashy, but they're a powerhouse in any survival pantry. Packed with vitamins and minerals, they fill in the nutritional gaps left by all the rice, beans, and pasta you'll be eating when the fresh produce disappears. These veggies are lightweight, colorful, and stay shelf-stable for up to 30 years when stored in nitrogen-sealed cans or mylar pouches. Here's why they're fantastic in a crisis. They rehydrate in under 3 minutes with boiling water, making them fast and fuel-efficient. Toss them into soups, scrambled eggs, or even noodle dishes, and suddenly your bland survival diet feels a little more human. The kick of color and variety also helps with food fatigue, which is very real when you're on rations. Even the powder at the bottom of the can works as seasoning for soups or rice. Nothing goes to waste. Be warned though, freeze-dried mixed veggies become scarce during emergencies. FEMA buys them in bulk for disaster zones, leaving little for civilians. And after wildfires, hurricanes, or earthquakes, good luck finding any left on the shelves. Storage is straightforward but critical. These cans can handle damp basements, but dented or bulging ones mean trouble. Once opened, reseal them in mason jars or vacuum-sealed bags with oxygen absorbers. Bonus tip: crushed freeze-dried veggies work as breading when milk or eggs are out of the picture. Barter value is high, especially with families desperate for kid-friendly meals. If your shelves don't include mixed veggies, you're missing out on a key survival tool. Freeze-dried chicken breast. If you're building a stockpile, freeze-dried chicken breast is non-negotiable. It's lean, high protein, and will store up to 30 years when sealed correctly. This isn't just survival food, it's a high-value asset in a post-chaos world. Since it's fully cooked and ready to rehydrate, a handful of freeze-dried chicken cubes can turn plain rice or noodles into a satisfying protein-packed meal. Rehydrating is easy. Pour hot water or broth, wait 10-15 minutes, and boom, ready to eat. Add it to soup, stir-fry, or casseroles. If you've got extra time and fuel, crisp it in a pan for added texture. Even the rehydration water doubles as broth for soups or stews. 2 birds, 1 stone. But don't just buy blindly. Avoid raw-labeled options. Pre-cooked, freeze-dried chicken is faster, safer, and more versatile. Supply is where things get tricky. Avian flu outbreaks can wipe out poultry farms, spiking prices and shrinking inventories. On top of that, freeze-drying facilities double as pharmaceutical plants during vaccine pushes, meaning food production slows when demand surges. Watch USDA surplus auctions to buy in bulk before the panic hits. Storage and inspection are critical. Dented cans or bulging lids mean seal failure. Once open, store chicken in mason jars with oxygen absorbers for daily use. Freeze-dried chicken expands about 2.5 times by volume, so measuring matters. Paired with freeze-dried veggies and pasta, you've got a quick, balanced meal that satisfies while the world outside burns. Skip this one, and you'll regret it. Like freeze-dried cheddar shreds. Cheese in an emergency might sound like a luxury, but freeze-dried cheddar? It's a survival essential. Forget about refrigeration and spoilage. Properly sealed in nitrogen-packed cans or mylar bags, this stuff holds up for 25 years. And when rehydrated, it acts, tastes, and even melts like the real thing. That's a game changer when you're stuck with plain rice or bland pasta. Rehydrating is so simple, it's laughable. A couple of tablespoons of warm water, a quick stir, and boom. You've got cheesy goodness to spread over survival foods like powdered potatoes or tortillas with dried beans. It's high in fat, giving you the calories you need, and a flavor boost that can pull anyone out of a food rut. But here's the deal. Cheese, even freeze-dried, still needs to be stored in a cool, dry spot to keep that fat from turning rancid. Stick it in your basement or a low-humidity pantry for the best results. Supply isn't always guaranteed. Dairy export quotas and changing milk surpluses can send prices soaring. Smart preppers buy in spring when milk production peaks, and shreds are more likely to be on shelves. Barter value? Through the roof. Cheese brings comfort, calories, and versatility few other foods can match. From survival quesadillas to instant mac and cheese, freeze-dried cheddar is the superhero of your stash. Skip it, and you'll regret it. 1 meat-headed conquer 1 flakes. If you're serious about survival cooking, dehydrated onion flakes need to be at the top of your list. No food stash is complete without this flavor bomb. 1 pound of these flakes replaces up to 9 pounds of fresh onions. No peeling, no chopping, no tears. Just toss them straight into your pot or soup and they rehydrate instantly, infusing every bite with smack-you-in-the-face good flavor. Here's why they're clutch. Onion flakes store like champs. When sealed in Mylar or number 10 cans with oxygen absorbers, they last more than 20 years. Their potent sulfur compounds not only add depth to your meals, but act as natural insect repellents, keeping pests out of your pantry. Talk about multi-purpose. But the supply chains are shaky. Most onion flake production comes out of California and Oregon, regions hit hard by water restrictions and wildfires. Stock up in the fall right after the harvest to score fresher flakes at a better price. And if you're loading up, go with a Prepper Co-op or LDS Cannery for bulk deals and fresh supplies. If humidity's a problem, Gamma Seal lids and foil-lined buckets will keep these flakes safe and dry. Crushing them into powder creates instant onion salt or DIY seasonings. Stir them directly into rice, jerky marinades, or stews for bold flavor with zero prep. When fresh onions are a distant memory, these flakes will transform boring rations into meals that feel like home. Trust me, run out of these and your survival pot will taste like regret.